Hello, everyone. My name is Jose, and I want to thank you in advance for your time and attention as we take the next few minutes to review my Designing an Educational Makerspace assignment as part of my Designer Learner Centered Environments class and part of my master's program at the University of Maryland Global Campus. While we were creating this makerspace for this project, I wanted to just provide just some additional context as I am not a traditional educator and my place of work is again at an academic hospital setting, a clinical setting for training the EHR or EPIC system related workflows. So the name of my makerspace is the EHR Education Innovation Makerspace, or for short, EEIM. As I was creating this makerspace, we wanted to make sure that we are linking it to standards and specific objectives. The first thing was making sure that the makerspace meets the following ISTE student standards, which are the Student Standard 1.4 for Innovative Designer and Student Standards 1.6 for Creative Communicator. As well, this makerspace meets and follows Maryland State Standards or CCR, anchors Standard 6 using technology, including the internet to produce and publish writing and to interact and collaborate with others, as well as the CCR Anchor Standard 7, conduct a short as well as sustained research project based on focused questions, demonstrating of the subject under investigation. And the makerspace meets the following objectives. So demonstrating the ability to navigate and document clinical care as accurately and as efficiently as possible using established standards and new features or applications. And then lastly, applying principles of user-centered design and interdisciplinary collaboration to identify and propose improvements to clinical workflows. So the three scenarios or three projects that came to mind when creating this makerspace is as follows. Patient centered or patient throughput efficiency simulations, essentially simulating the process of patient registering and going through the entire continuum of care through discharge. Mastering DAX Copilot, which is the Microsoft product for the Dragon Ambient AI dictation, which you can use to create notes in conjunction with a Haiku application, which is a mobile application from Epic to allow us to document or allow clinicians to document via their mobile devices, i.e. their iPhones. And then building reusable clinic templates for ourselves as well as for to share with other providers or clinicians who want to use the solution. As well, designing a patient-centered resource coordination model. So although we have things that are very similar in the world of healthcare, especially in the academic hospitals, this is a way to bring our EPIC EHR training as well as clinical training together and include the subject matter expertise of other clinicians and multidisciplinary participants throughout the hospital system. So it's important to make sure that we're tracking progress, and this is just not a wasted activity of people's time and resources. So to help us to track the students' progress, we have 3 points that we're going to be using. The first one is each participant will maintain a digital log in Microsoft Teams that will track their progress through the different activities that they're working on. Whether it's completing a simulation or using a DAX template or testing a patient throughput workflow process. We'll have structured check-ins with clinical educators as well as EHR or electronic health record educators or my folks at different phases of each project where students receive peer and instructor feedback, to make sure that number one, that they're not too far off kilt from what is already established, and to ensure that feasibility, which we'll talk about in a little bit. As well, the final product will be showcased to our clinical informaticists teams who serve as a liaison between IT and training and operational clinicians. So again, to ensure the feasibility of the project and the recommendations that are being recommended, and create new EHR related workflows if deemed appropriate, leading to A4 development, presentations to the greater organization, as we love to learn from each other. So what I did here is I am sharing a picture of a underutilized provider lounge or physician lounge, which will be the home of our maker station. So it won't be mobile, it will be immobile and located in a familiar location in one of the hospital settings, and using an older physician's lounge that may have not been updated, as they're usually one of the last places to be updated when budgetary funds are available. So the room will require installation of digital whiteboard, but will already be outfitted for multiple workstations, fully equipped with Citrix, printers, label scanners, and access to the Epic Learning Library, which is an intranet page that we use to house all of our training content. Multiple outlets and quads for inputs, outputs, installed for a variety of different device usage, and simulation section can simulate patient care documentation, and we'll have a common use area for collaboration and discussion, as no technology will replace good old-fashioned communication. So there are many challenges that come to mind when creating this makerspace, but the two that I have outlined are limited physical space and operational stakeholder buy-in. So the first one is, again, limited physical space or outdated infrastructure. Back in 2020, my training teams, when I was at the University of Maryland, we all transitioned to VILT, or virtual instructor-led training. What ended up happening is all of our training rooms across the enterprise were repurposed or used for different means, whether it be administrative or direct patient care. So we lost a lot of our training rooms, and a lot of the spaces or real estate in the hospital settings are of high value for that very reason. So we would have to find a space that we could repurpose, and make sure that we have a pre-assessment walkthrough with a member of our IT teams to identify required upgrades, or especially like Wi-Fi routers, etc., that need to be updated. Operational stakeholder buy-in and administrative time. So our clinicians are getting paid to take care of our patients, and in some cases, depending on the contract, they have what's called administrative time kind of built into their week schedule. And in other cases, especially in inpatient or the hospital settings, that is not the case. So we would need to make sure that we are aligning our makerspace activities to organizational priorities, so that administrative leadership will buy into what we're doing and help support this initiative, as well as allowing for our multidisciplinary collaborators to utilize some administrative time during work hours for these efforts, as most would not after pulling a long stint at work, or a 12-hour session at the hospital. So sourcing this equipment, we would lean on donations from other clinics and departments in the hospitals. When I managed operations, we oftentimes would give outdated or expired supplies to our training team so that they can use for simulations, etc. We would leverage our IT departments as far as what equipment we currently have in stock. to help outfit this, especially with regards to the installation of ports or outlets, etc. As well as human resources to leverage whatever perhaps paper materials, books or pencils, etc., or journals, books, etc., that they could offer us as well for this project. There may be an opportunity for us to build in some of this cost into our yearly budgets, and then of course applying for grants that may be available to help this effort as well. And lastly, what you see here is a concept design of the Makerspace. Since this is just a concept and it will take quite some time to get that operational buy-in and find space to make this happen, what I did is I leveraged ChatGPT to visualize, reimagine, and repurpose a provider lounge area into a fully functional EIM. The space will again feature fully outfitted workstations equipped with Epic, Citrix, Microsoft Teams, the playground for training purposes, and support immersive training and workflow simulations. A digital whiteboard. In this picture, you see a standard whiteboard, but that would be replaced with a digital whiteboard to help with flowcharts and be more of a collaborative tool for designing and mapping those workflows. And to support hands-on clinical practice, a workstation on wheels, or a WOW, you could see on the right-hand side next to a standard workstation chair to help simulate rooming and vital collections to improve patient throughput processes. We will have a dedicated equipment shelf that will house essential tools such as the printers or iPhones, label printers, etc., and chargers, which I can imagine will be off to the right-hand side. This space is intended to serve as a hub for continuous learning, innovation, and collaboration across the clinical and training teams. So again, although this is a concept, this is something I would love to actually put into or make into reality as having a place to innovate and collaborate is essential for building the future that we want to see. So I look forward to your thoughts and feedback, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.